Okay, the purpose of today's demonstration, as we mentioned, was to give a quick overview of the functionality of the quality and risk management module in Meditech Expanse. We'll review the current state of incident reporting, demonstrate some incident reporting, the statistics desktop, and quality reviews, and touch a little bit on custom reports. What we won't be discussing today is surveillance, although that is technically part of the module. It is handled separately, and I believe there was already a demo for that module. Incident reporting in Meditech Expanse. So the incident reporting system provides users the ability to report patient, non-patient, employee incidents, and employee hazards all within one system. The patient information can be pulled in from the EMR, and once a patient is selected, their demographic information will automatically be populated. Incident types have been standardized and tailored to provide information while maintaining efficiency, including an example is we have a shortened form for good catch and near misses in order to, encourage those being entered. If it's a long form, users are less likely to enter those. Here is a list of, so what we have is we have incident types. So under each, we call them patient populations, but with patient, non-patient, or employee, there are different incident types. And here you can see a list of the incident types that are available when a user goes to enter a patient incident. And these were all agreed upon through a regional working group, and many of them were pulled from the current state of whichever incident reporting solutions were being used, like RL6, that sort of thing. These were sort of cobbled together from what folks were using and agreed on these. Within each of these incident types, you drill down even closer to have different types of event codes, which is more specific. We'll show you a little more with that in the demo. These are examples of non-patient incident types. So, things like things that would not be specifically tied to a patient. So something to do with a piece of medical equipment or facility. Employee incidents is another type of incidents that we can do. And these would be if an employee had an injury or something on the job. You can track those through here. And then we also have employee hazards. So if an employee notices a potential hazard in the workplace, they can report them through here. For each of these different patient populations, we have severity levels. So, and they do differ somewhat between them. So, for patient severity levels, there's none, mild, moderate, severe, and death. You can see the brief description. And those descriptions are available to the end user when they are inputting it as a refresher. And obviously, based on different severity levels, your individual organization may decide on how to handle those workflows. Non-patient, you can see they are somewhat different. Employee incident, the same, different. In Expanse, and we will talk about this a little bit, but there's a functionality called manager referrals. So for any of your managers who need to review and act on incidents, they get what is called a referral, and that means that the incident is automatically sent to them, and then they are able to act on it. And we're going to show you, Sheba's going to show you that in our demo today. This is just an example. What happens is when a new referral is made in the system, it automatically sends the manager an email with some brief details, but most importantly, it has the incident number, and that is how the manager can then go in and look that up. There is a work list as well, which we'll show, but that is sort of just an example of that. Okay, so I'm going to switch over and we will start our demo now. Okay. So I've actually logged in as an end user. When it comes to risk management, there are actually different access levels that we set up at your site. And what those access levels do is they dictate what A, the user can do, and B, what sort of information they see. And the incident report that a user sees depends on their access level. So I've logged in as an end user, and this would be the majority of the staff in your hospital, nurses, housekeeping, support staff, etc. And really what they can do is they can enter an incident, and that's actually about it. And the incident reports that they see are going to have just the information necessary in order to get that incident recorded. Once the managers and risk managers access it, there's much more information that they can put on that and will show. So this is an example of a home screen when someone logs into Expanse. Now, this is just a basic profile that I have set up, so I really have no option to do anything in here. Normally, if it was a nurse, they would have many more options like their acute status board, the ED tracker, etc. But just for the purposes of this demo, I've got a very basic profile set up. There are this is though how it would look. So if you have support staff like housekeepers who wouldn't normally interact with Expanse, they don't do any charting, they don't access patient records, etc. This is actually, they still have to be set up within Expanse, and this is how it would look, very basic. So there are two ways in which you can enter an incident. I'm going to show you the first way. The second way is from within the patient record, the acute status board. So if a nurse is in a patient record, they have a different button that they can report the incident because they have what is called the web interface. This is the old style of Meditech, and not all of Expanse has caught up to web, so they do look and function a little bit different. But it's very basic. The user would log into Expanse. They would click the report button at the bottom. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's a little triangle with an exclamation mark. And it asks, what would you like to report? They're going to select incident. So if this was a user at your site, they would not have to select the facility. It would be automatically populated for them. It's just like this because I'm kind of a super user, so I have access to everywhere. But for our demo, I'm going to pick Sioux Area Hospital, and we're going to pick a patient incident. So then I would go on to to select an incident type. And you are going to notice there is a small reminder here. If you select severe or death for severity level, you must immediately report the incident to your manager or designate. So just a reminder there. And we're going to pick a fall. So you see when I open up the incident type, it provides a lookup and it lists the available incident types for patient incidents. So we're going to pick a fall. And then it's going to ask for an event code, which is what I mentioned earlier. And that is just a more detailed description of the event. So for this, the user would then pick something that was closer to the incident that they're reporting. And we're going to say from chair or wheelchair. Identifier, because this is a patient incident, it's going to be attached to the patient's EMR. So this is where we would look up the patient, and you can look up last name first. There's different ways you can look up by MRN, account number, etc. And you'll see because I've typed in, and these are test patients, by the way, so some of it will look a little funny. And it will bring up, because I just typed in the patient name, it's going to bring up basically all of their visits. And so you would select the visit that is most appropriate for when the incident occurred. I'm going to pick this. Okay, so we've selected the patient and the incident, and it kicks us into the incident. And this is the incident report, which the end user would see. You'll see at the above, and you'll see up at the top, it's got the patient header. So it's got the patient's name, their preferred name, it's got their age, sex, date, where they are admitted. So it actually says which room and which unit. It's also got some things like their account number and MRN. So you'll see the first thing it goes to is the event severity. And this has a star, which means that this is a mandatory field. So this means that the user must complete any mandatory fields or they won't be able to submit the incident. We try to be pretty careful about what we make mandatory. If we made everything mandatory, it would frustrate the end users because they would have to go in. So we've, as a group, decided on what we consider to be, the must-have information. So I'm going to pick mild, and you'll see, as I mentioned, there is a quick reference there for the users if they're not sure. If a user enters this and the manager reviews it and actually thinks it's wrong, they can go back and change it later. But the user must enter that when they are doing the incident. Next is the event date, and you'll see it brings up a calendar. I'm just going to click today. And event time, I'm just going to click now. It will ask, is the time actual or approximate? I'm just going to indicate actual. You can give further information there. The next is, did the incident occur in the patient room? And the reason this is important is because if the user indicates yes, then it will automatically default the location where the patient's room is. And the importance for that is when we set up the manager profiles within the system, we can set up what are called referral rules. So if I'm the manager of, let's say, your pediatric unit, and this incident occurred on the pediatric unit, I would set up the referrals so that I would get all incidents that occur on the pediatric unit. If it didn't occur in the patient room, the user can then go and pick another location from within the hospital. But for this, we're going to pick yes, and you'll see it defaults to the location there. Next is the description of the incident. So has the incident been disclosed to the patient or substitute decision maker? I'm going to say yes. Next is a factual description. So this is just a brief description that the user would enter, and I'm going to say patient was transferring from chair to bed and fell over. It allows the user to indicate what the cognitive status was at the time of the fall. And this is all of this information obviously is important. If you have, let's say you're seeing an increased number of falls, you may want to know, were they all related to cognitive status? Do we need more supervision on this unit, etc.? So I'm going to say that the patient had dementia. Next question, and sorry, I can put in some more information if I needed to as well. The next question is, was post-fall assessment Meditech intervention completed? So we do have things that are called interventions, and that's something that a nurse basically can document on. So if a patient had a fall, a nurse can bring in the post-falls assessment intervention, and they can document on it. And we have gone in and done one earlier for this patient. So we'll be able to show you how that looks. You can actually, the manager can bring that information directly from the EMR into the incident report, which is helpful. I'm going to say yes. Injury occurred. I'm going to say no. And then it's going to have, and you could say yes and, give a little more detail about that. Next is immediate actions taken. So I'm going to say that I assess the patient, check vitals. Again, you can give more detail there. I'm going to say that we monitored the patient and assigned a constant care. Next, if there are any other individuals, so if you had another staff member in there with you, etc., the user could indicate who that was in case we needed to do more follow-up. So essentially, that's the end of the incident report if I was a nurse or staff member reporting this fall. I am going to click Save, and that will file the incident. Any questions about that before we move on to the next phase, which is sort of how the manager would deal with it? Cindy?
Hi, Chris. Just one thing to note. We normally direct our staff to go to the question mark at the top right-hand corner. And that's where you can report an incident from as well.
Oh, here, right in help. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, so what Cindy was saying is there is another, if you don't want to do that, you can report an issue this way, and you'll see it goes to the same option. Thanks, Cindy.
Now, just in the PowerPoint, Chris had shown an email. So as a leader or a manager, they would get an email notification saying that there is an incident that is entered for your particular unit. And when they get that email notification or as a daily workload, they can actually go to their administrative tab, risk management, and then to incident management desktop. And they get to go to the work list. And in their work list, all those incidents that are assigned to them based on the referral rules, they will be able to see them. Another place that they can see is the same tab itself, home. And if you go to all my assigned incident, you will be taken to the same page. So I can see that you can actually sort this by date. So if you click over here, you can actually see, okay, this is the incident that's entered now, and I can see that that's 1522. I just want to go and review it. So on your right-hand side, you can see different tabs. So you can either use edit option, view option, and the best option for you to really add any information would be to go to edit. So I'm going to edit this. And seeing that this is a patient, this is what happened, the severity is mild. Again, the information about those guidelines about mild incident or moderate, severe, and death is given in this particular screen. So we can easily see if this particular incident is the right severity level or not. So as a leader, you would be reading it. Okay, patient was transferred, no obvious injuries, physician is notified, return to bed. Okay, their vitals were checked, constant care is provided. This is what an end user would see. And from here, from patient outcome, this is what a manager has to start entering. So the first question that I have to enter is this a never event? So I'm going to choose no, because it doesn't fall under the criteria for those never incidents that are categorized under the 15 instance by the Canadian Patient Safety Institute. Now, was there any initial disclosure done? Yes or no? And is there a post-disclosure analysis based on whatever is the outcome? And this is a mandatory field. And another reason being, we usually pull a report from this never event questionnaire. So it's very important that people choose the right answer. So when we pull the reports later, and especially for your reporting to the ministry, it would be really helpful. And could this be a potential claim? Yes or no? I don't think this would be a potential claim. And maybe if you want to add any additional comment to it, there is a C next to it, and you can actually add here, no injuries occurred. And then why did this incident happen? So if you're doing a root cause analysis, this is a place where you would really do the root cause analysis and write what is the root cause for this particular incident. So you can write behavioral. Polypharmacy. Oh, nice. I don't know why did it do that.
Sorry, folks. Looks like Sheba got kicked out of Expanse.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. Okay. And manager has confirmed the severity level, yes or no. So it could be yes if you think that it's the right severity level that the end user has chosen. If you want to go ahead and change it, you have the option to choose. For example, you have to delete it and you have to click on this caret and you can go and choose whatever seems that might be appropriate for that particular instant. What are the investigation results? So you can click over here, and this is where you can actually pull the false data information that Chris was talking about. So it gives you the option to choose. This is a standard one that I have. I have a few favorites that I have. So I have a fall data, and there is a fall data that is entered by the staff for this particular patient. And I'm just going to choose that. So it pulls that information over there. Action, what is taken to prevent the recurrence. So education, maybe falls prevention, false anti-slip socks is provided. Okay. And any contributing factors, it could be individual behavior, it could be patient and family, any contributing factors that you think might have contributed to this particular incident.
Sheba, do you
Yes.
also want to quickly just show how they can get right into the EMR
EMR,
if they
yes.
wanted to look for more information?
Yes, and this is the best place where you can actually toggle to the EMR. And I used to love this particular tab that we have, because when somebody enters this information, you really don't know what exactly happened and you really want to delve deep into this particular instance. So this EMR would take you directly to their patient medical record, and you can actually see, go to the nursing record and you can see, okay, oh, okay, I can see that somebody has documented something about this particular incident. This is the nurse's documentation. Did a physician see the patient? So I can actually go to the physician tab and look for any consultation. I can see that there was an orthopedic consultation. Maybe patient had a fall earlier, or maybe it's related to the current fall that we had, whatever that might look like. And you can close that particular tab and it takes you back to the instance. So you can actually refill any information, or like you can go back and add any more information based on your toggle to your EMR. Any other contributing factors? Was this a critical incident? If you think it's not, you can choose no. Any legislative reporting, if it's required as part of any reporting, you can choose. This is where you'll be choosing that. Any related incident, for example, if this patient had another fall in the morning, or maybe a medication incident in the morning. So you can actually click, and if anything is related to that particular day or particular incident, you can choose from there. And this is the place where you can actually add any managers that you want to really look into this particular. So for example, I see that these are the managers who are already there, but I would like somebody from another area to review it, because this patient came from the unit, or they have something more that they could document. For example, I could add the risk manager, because I want her to look into it. And if you want to make them as a primary, you click on within their name and they would become the primary now. And you can see there is a E next to Chris because he edited this particular instance. You can see a V next to my name because I viewed it. Next time when for example, I can write a statement, I'm like, this is referred to me, but I have nothing to do with it. I have done my documentation part. I am not the primary person who is responsible for this particular instance. You can write reviewed, referred to, or further investigation. And you can click OK. And there is a blue small bubble next to my name. I can click over there, and if I do that, it gives me the option for completion. So as a leader, if you're very particular about your list and you want your list to shrink, or if you want to make sure you're on top of all your instance, you can actually go ahead and complete it. So it gives me a C next to my name. But if you are the person who is responsible for that particular area or the staff involved with that particular instance, we usually advise our staff not to complete it because it will fall off from their list, and then later they will say that, okay, I can't see it under my list. There is nothing for me to complete. So it's very important that they don't really complete it if they should be the primary. The next option that we have is the final disposition. So you can choose that small caret, and it gives you different options. So if it's a duplicate report, instant report, you can click on duplicate. For example, somebody might start one, and then after 5 minutes, they will go back and start entering another one. Instead of doing all that again and again, you can click on it. Insufficient information, usually for complaint reports. The most appropriate option to choose is result. And if you choose result, okay, it's giving me an information that entering a final disposition sets the instance status to complete. Click OK. But then now I'm like, okay, I forgot to attach something. I would like to attach something about this particular instance. It could be a photo, it could be a report. So on your left-hand side, you have that option. So you can click on that attach, and you can click upload, and you can click on whatever file you would like to upload. And next time you click OK. Now you can see an attachment with a bracket 1. So if now anyone goes to review this particular instance, they know that there is something attached in this, and they can actually click it, and they will have the option to download and view that particular document that's attached. I'm going to save it. If any field needs to be filled, and if I haven't filled it, it will give me a pop-up. So all those field that has an asterisk, those are mandatory fields that needs to be filled. So if I haven't filled it out, let's see. So save. So I think I have filled all the columns. So it gives me an option to close. And when I go back to my list, you can see that the status of this particular instance is changed to complete. You can see in process and complete now, but next time when I come back to my Meditech, or like when I log back, this particular instance won't be there under my list. But you completed it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh God, I have to add something. Then if you have to add any more information, you can choose change status, and click on in process. You can need to add additional.
And I will add, just while she was doing that, the decision as to who closes incidents is kind of a hospital site-specific decision. Sydney, I'm not sure what you guys do for some sites. It's just the quality and risk manager that's able to actually close them. Some sites let managers close certain ones, you know, with lower severities or whatever, but that you sort of decide at a site level.
We're closing them all in at Blanche River Health. I am as quality risk.
Okay.
After everybody's complete.
Okay. So at Sioux Area Hospital, from my experience, so it was the responsibility of the manager or the supervisor of that particular department to take care of the incident. Depends upon the volume of the instance that you have for your organization. And there are a few tabs that we can toggle over. For example, history. You're really curious about who actually went into that particular instance and changed something without your knowledge. So this tab actually helps you to go over those things. You can see that.
Basically shows every input by every
Yes,
user, so
user.
you can really look at it in detail.
And single mode is another function. For example, you did everything with that instance and you have no clue about what happened, or like you forgot the name of the patient. You don't know anything about it, but you just know somebody gave you a number. That could be one way that you can go and look for it. And you can see all that comes up, or maybe you knew the patient's name. Then you can go to that particular patient, and by visitors, nothing is there. Maybe by medical record, it will show you all the incidents that are entered. And also another place is incident home, incident criteria. So you just know that this was entered in the month of August, and you know from 1st to 18th. Maybe you can even drill it down to incident type, include, for, because you knew that this is what you're looking for. And if you compile, again, you will be taken to the list that you can actually toggle back and forth. And if you want to do a quality review for a particular instant, this is a tab that you can use. You can actually go to create review and review type, whether it's a never event or review module. That's what two that are being used. You can choose review module, the reason, comprehensive review, and as you're going, you can actually enter the other information. Is this a critical incident? Yes or no? What is the quality care committee's decision? Root cause analysis based on your analysis, date of root cause analysis, more details regarding a review that you might do.
Yeah, so this is actually, this quality module is actually separate from the incident module. And generally the people that are using these quality reviews would just be your quality leads. And that would be if you had, let's say, a critical event that you wanted to really do a detailed review, then you can use this review module. I will say that current state, I don't think it's being used much, but we are starting to have sites looking to use it, and they're starting to use it. Cindy, I don't know if you guys are using it at Blanche River.
Not really, no, not yet.
No, okay. Yeah, it's something that we're, as a group, as a region, are starting to get a little more familiar with and looking at. But it does give you the option to, like, if you had a quality of care committee and we're reviewing a critical incident, or let's say you had a bunch of incidents and you wanted to do like a multi-incident review. Let's say you were having a bunch of falls on a particular unit and you wanted to look at, maybe the root causes there. Is it staffing? Is it time of day? Is it, you can do much more detailed reviews with that.
And any recommendations that are brought forward could be added here and assigned based on that.
So we have something in incident reporting called the Incident Statistics Desktop. Really what this does is gives you a very high level overview of some basic statistics. So if you want to see the number of falls you had in a quarter, you can do it that way. This is test, so bear with us. There probably isn't a lot in here, but basically I would select my facility. This is sort of the criteria. I can select the year, I could select the quarter, and it counts backwards. So you could say the last 4 quarters, starting with, let's say, Q3. You can pick the patient categories. And you'll see here, it gives you some basic sorting of different data from the system. So if you wanted to look at the number of complaints, you can, it'll tell you the number of complaints by quarter. You can drill down to other things, sorry, we're not using those, different event codes. So if you want to look at, you know, chemical restraints, that sort of thing. But really, this is very basic data. That is what I would say would be, I would say that the benefit to Meditech incident reporting is that it's directly incorporated into the EMR. The downside would be getting data out of it, which is kind of a problem with Meditech in general. But what we are doing in order to improve that is we are building Power BI reports. So we're building custom reports. We have what's called the Data Insights portal. I'm not sure if you've heard or seen of our version of this, but essentially what we are doing is building custom reports which pull the information out of Meditech Expanse into the Power BI format, and then you can export those into an Excel spreadsheet, and then you can manipulate all the data. You can create dashboards, that sort of thing. I can show you an example. Now this is live data, but that's okay. There's no identifying information here. And so this is something that we are constantly working on as a region, and our quality and risk regional work group, which has members from all of our hospitals, are working together to build these reports and improve them. But these do not, like if you decide to take QRM, you do not just have these reports magically appear. They are things that we are building essentially. But I'm just going to show you an example of, and we can build these completely custom. So, you know, we can, I'm just going to go, say, and so you can see this is much more detailed. We can drill down to the different event codes, different patient categories. It's got data for risk managers and managers showing how long, you know, it took for someone to respond, how long it took for someone to close the incidents, if you want to track those sorts of things. And then what you can do is export them into an Excel spreadsheet, and then you can manipulate that data. So you have it all, you know, in a CSV format or Excel. And so we're building based on, you know, medication incidents is a big one. We have one coming up for falls, never events. So as we spoke before, if you want to, hopefully, you know, you never have any never events, but you could run reports on that. But that is sort of one of the quandaries with Expanse QRM is getting the data out. Yes. I see
so that was, yeah, that was actually my question again. So our super user at the site, so our risk person, what is the capability at their end? Like what, I guess, what are they allowed to do just other than close incidents or whatever we designate? Is there an ability to create the reports, or do they all have to be created by you at our request?
So what, and feel free for Cindy or Shiva to chime in, but what some sites are doing is that desktop that I showed you, they are really sort of manually taking that data and building, you know, inputting it into their own Power BI or a spreadsheet and then creating a dashboard. It's a pretty, you know, manual process. these reports, once they are built, those users would have access to those reports and then can just run them for their site. But from within Expanse, there is, I don't know, Cindy, do you have anything to add to that, or Sheba?
So for example, if somebody answer the question, is this a never event? And if they say yes, so it pulls that particular information, yes or no. If it's an yes, that will be pulled into that particular report. So the Power BI would generate that report for the end user. So as a risk person, they would, when they go and look at that quarterly report, they would be able to see how many risk never incidents were entered for that quarter. And they would also get very high level information, like what is the SV number, for example, what is the incident number. So they can go into the system and review those information. So you can either save it as an Excel file or whatever mode that you want to save it for your data.
Can I just add that? Yes, okay, that's what I was just going to say. So on the screen, Chris, that you have now, if you click on the number, you can actually break it down. So you can see the different types of incidents.
Sorry, yeah, I should have showed that, yeah.
And then what you can do as well is you can get the list from the bottom. So it's not the best because it's a little bit more work, but we definitely are getting there with reports on the data insights side of things. Obviously it's different than, RL Solutions. You could kind of just build your reports. But we are, as a group, really starting to pull together and build reports, but you can definitely get the data. There's so much data in Expanse that you can pull.
There's a comment in the chat from Jody. Is the incident data in the Expanse DR? I don't know what that is.
The data repository, that's it's not my area of expertise, but yeah, I believe that's how our reports team pulls that. So they basically build, if there's a piece of data in Expanse, they can add that to a report and then it pulls it into those Power BI reports. I don't know, Marie, if you want to confirm that, but I believe that's how it's done.
I think that would be something that the data reporting team
Yeah.
would have to confirm, if that's an outstanding question for this group.
So I have another question too, is just then, so it's great to have these reports. If we all had these reports, is there a higher power that is then pulling together like regional reports or Northwestern Ontario reports or et cetera? Is that something that we need considered from a privacy perspective as well?
I think they are starting to build, sorry, and I may not have access, but they are, yeah, sorry. We can take that back and find that out for you. I know there is talk of getting some more regional data and building, but the report would have to be built specifically to pull that. These reports are targeted towards a site's data, if that makes sense.
I just want to note that there is, discussions and work underway for like a data warehouse in the Northwest as well. So for the group, I think at Riverside there who had the question, there is probably more ongoing discussion about this from a Northwest regional level. We really don't know what that's going to look like yet. But it certainly is something that we're thinking about. And, with all of the data that comes out of Expanse, what does that look like for our region and how can, we leverage all of that? And like you're saying, could we have a false statistic across the Northwest?